Good morning, guys. Sorry for the little delay. Been messing around with this Facebook Live stuff, and we wanted to bring it on streaming from Zoom.
Do you want to sound a little bit more exciting?
Oh, it's Friday.
Come on, it's
A
Friday.
lot of people have been following me already. I don't know if you saw my story this morning, but I thought it was gonna be an easy Friday for me. But then I looked at my calendar for the day. It looks like I'm not getting out of this office till 7 o'clock tonight.
Well, that's a lie, and I know better because you told me that you were going to try to play golf, but to keep that a secret because you didn't want your wife to know. I'm just kidding. But no, it is Friday. And I'm excited to be here. I don't know about you.
It's not looking nice outside too. I mean,
It is sunny. I'm not going to play golf. I have work to do like you, but I'm excited for the weekend though. Any plans?
Going to a whiskey fest in Weston, Missouri tomorrow afternoon.
A whiskey fest
Yeah,
in
so-
Western Missouri, meaning Kansas City.
Kansas City, Missouri, pretty much. Going with a couple of friends, Samir is one of them, and Premal. I don't think you've met him, but yeah, he's the one that started that whole thing, saying that we should go to it and check it out. So doing that on Saturday, and then the Indian holiday. Today's the culture's India's New Year's.
Is it the Festival of Lights or something?
Yeah,
like
Festival of Lights. That was yesterday. That's Diwali.
Okay.
So it's like a 5-6 day festival. So there's
You
like
guys know how to
different
party.
days. Oh yeah, today's the day to party.
I mean, isn't it true that just for your weddings, it sometimes takes like 1 or 2 weeks?
Yeah.
That's the way it should be. So it is Friday. This is actually our first podcast where we're going to have a guest. I know
Yes.
we've done other podcasts, but it wasn't the Friday mornings with Bakhtin Barbosa.
Yep.
Now officially we have a guest.
Yes, and the reason was people were getting tired of just listening to the two of us.
Well, they were tired of listening to you. I mean, they like to hear my voice. At least I do. But so tell me and tell the folks out there who is our guest.
So Alina is going to be our guest. She's a real estate agent here in Kansas City. Known her for about 4 or 5 years now. Met her through a mutual friend, and I'm going to bring her on here so she can start talking about how she got into the real estate world. Alina,
Well,
please
come
join
on
us.
down, Alina.
Hello,
Well, it's nice to have you here.
it's nice to be here.
This is a fun environment. We kind of keep it, on the lighter side, but at the same time, answering questions that folks out there in the social media world may be curious about.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you know a little bit about our podcast, but we try to talk about legal issues, insurance issues, real estate issues, and so or any other topic that
Mhm.
people may be interested in.
What everybody wants to know.
Exactly. And so,
All right.
how do you feel about being our first guest?
I'm so excited that you guys even thought to invite me here.
Oh,
As
definitely.
Well, your check will also help. I'm kidding, people. I'm kidding. She didn't pay us to be here, but welcome to our Friday mornings with Bakhtin and Barbosa.
Thank you.
So, just to start off this live podcast, kind of give us a little history of, I know you're not originally from Kansas City either, like me. I
No.
moved here about, 7, 8 years ago, and same with you. And then kind of let us know
Yeah.
how you got into the real estate world.
Yeah. So I was in college and I was studying to go into pre-med. And I just was
I
not
did that too.
enjoying
I'm
my
just kidding, I did.
classes. Yeah, no, they were tough. It was chemistry that really got to me. And so one day I went to my guidance counselor and I'm like, I'm not enjoying these classes. These are really challenging. What should I do?
Wait,
And
where did you go to school?
so University of Central Missouri.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. It's a nice school.
An hour away from here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Warrensburg, right?
Warrensburg. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was there and so she had me do an aptitude test. So it's personality and aptitude and financial planning, real estate agent, insurance agent, attorney. So basically anything that helped people. And then also was very like an outgoing job where you get to be with people. Those came up for what I would be good at.
Good at.
Yeah. So she was like, hey, to get into real estate, you don't need college. And so I was like, all right, I can go get a license. And she explained it to me. She's like, hey, all you need is 2 weeks of school and go pass the test and you can be in real estate. And so was like, all right, so I did it. I finished college, but in the meantime, I had my real estate license for 2 years while I was still in college. And after college, I went on all these job interviews. And then I realized that I actually enjoyed real estate a lot. And so then I moved to Kansas City while I was doing all the job interviews. And I didn't know anyone. I just knew one person here, and which was my sister. And then I just started meeting people and got some clients and decided to just stay in real estate. So that's my
And-
journey into real estate.
And to stay in Kansas
Kansas
City.
City.
And to stay in Kansas City. Kansas City is a great city.
Well,
I am so,
tell us what is so great about Kansas City, particularly, well, let's start with the metro area. I mean, is
Mhm.
that in your industry of real estate? If someone wants to, they're looking, let's say it's a young couple and they're
Mhm.
looking for their new house, should they be looking downtown, suburbs? Tell us.
personal preference. Everybody
Yeah.
has their personal preference of what they enjoy. I love downtown life. I love just activity. So for me,
Do you
being
live
able to-
downtown?
So yeah, so living downtown, like you can walk. I mean, we're downtown right here, right
Yeah.
now. So you can walk anywhere. You don't need a car, which I love. And like, so there's a grocery store downtown. You technically could get away without getting into a car. And like, so back to real estate, one of my favorite things is when somebody calls me and they want to go look at a condo, and I'm like, yeah, sure. And I actually walk to appointments. Did not get into a car, did not even have to get onto the streetcar, nothing, just like step
Yeah.
down, walk,
When did you first move to downtown Kansas City?
like 2 years ago.
Okay, 2 years ago, because I remember back in the day where
Mhm.
downtown was pretty dead.
Oh,
Has
yeah,
that changed?
that was pre me moving to Kansas City.
Yeah.
So when I moved to Kansas City, our downtown was pretty good. Like we
Okay.
had the streetcar. It's lots of new development down here, lots of restaurants.
And do you
So
know of
this
any,
is-
any potential or future, near future type developments also, geared towards downtown that may entice people to move?
Yes, so I believe in the Crossroads, they're actually going to be putting in a park with a playground, which would encourage people who have kids or just kind of want this to be more residential area.
And pets
So-
too.
And pets, exactly, because I think that's a big issue here
Down
downtown,
there.
is the pets. Yeah, because there's limited areas where they have a green space.
Yeah, I think there's like
So-
just a dog park, I think on 70, and then I think there's another one like kind of in the middle, but
Mhm.
it's not really that big for, the bigger dogs to. kind of go
Yeah,
out there, so.
exactly. Yeah, so,
So.
yeah, and then,
Speaking of downtown though, I wanted to kind of, go back into that real estate market. I know downtown's where the younger, like millennials and them are looking for moving to because it's much easier, right? Like you said, you don't need a car, you just walk to work because
so
they're working
draws
here.
a lot of people.
Yeah. But how about the suburbs as well? Like, Shawnee, Lee Summit. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I know those areas are growing as well. Olathe's growing, Gardner's growing.
Pretty
Liberty.
much,
Liberty,
yeah. Oh, we have, yeah, pretty much a lot of area in Kansas City is growing. So plenty, whatever it is that you want, what lifestyle you're looking for, we have it.
Well, I think, and I've heard this, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, for that young couple, young, professional that wants and prefers the downtown, sometimes they're concerned that the resale value may not be there if they decide to later on get a family and move to the suburbs. Now they have that investment in downtown, and they may have tough time getting rid of it. Is that real or a myth?
So you could pretty much just base it off of previous, like what's the appreciation for condos, if you're talking about condos
Yeah,
downtown. You could base it off of that, how it's just been growing, and you can see that. So say 10 years ago, what you could have bought for 100,000
Oh, yeah.
is now selling for 300, 400,000. So you can just base it off of that. And maybe there could be some fear that perhaps, in 3 years when they turn around to sell it. But one thing that I do look at, which anybody should look at, is okay, what's the rent here downtown? And how does that compare to what I'm buying?
Yeah.
So then you can look at that and just say, like, you can look at that, base it off, like, similar apartment, similar condo building, what's their rent? What would the potential monthly payment be? And so you could just compare it and then base it off of that. As opposed to just like having some fears, but just actually base it off of numbers, like what's going on.
And then
Yeah.
going back to the appreciation too, like, my investor side comes out in me, and I'm
Mhm.
just thinking, oh, let me buy a 1-bedroom condo right now. And then once I have a family and stuff, when I move out, I'll still keep that. And it looks good when I go to the lender and say, hey, I'm gonna be renting this out. And I mean, rents have been going up in Kansas City like crazy.
Yeah,
So,
throughout the whole metro area.
yeah, because I was looking at it downtown, you were able to get a 1-bedroom apartment before for like $1,200 a month. Now you're looking at least 1,500, and then you got, the other fees on top, parking and all that, which before they were like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
we'll give you free parking,
Yeah.
But now since downtown's been growing and
Mhm.
Crossroads too,
limited parking
limited
space.
parking, and I think the
Mhm.
multifamily side, over 90% occupancy in Kansas City right now. I think the last report I looked at was like 97 or 96%. It's like
Yeah,
up there. So
it's pretty high.
So when is a good time to buy a house? I want to buy a house. Is it a good
Um,
time?
Whenever you need a home to live in, now is the time. Well, anytime you need a home, anytime you're having a life change, that's probably the good time to buy a house.
Yeah.
So no matter what, it just kind of depends like what type of home you would be buying. What would be the smart decision, if that's what you're asking?
Well, that and
Instead of-
like affordability too. I mean, someone
Mhm.
just graduates from college and they're lucky enough to get a job. They're making, good income,
Mhm.
but they still have the student loans, at least for a few
Yeah.
years. We don't know what's going to happen with that. But regardless, how can someone start planning and know that they're in a position to invest and make and buy that first home, and then
Yeah.
from there an investment property, that type of stuff?
Yeah.
What would you tell people?
I mean, if they want to be in a safe position, then as long as they have like 6 months of rent, well, not rent, but like mortgage
Mortgage.
payments saved up, they'll be in a safe position. So that way, if anything were to even happen, they'll still have some reserves in their savings. Like if something, so at least they'll have 6 months to figure out a new game plan of what they're going to do, how they're going to.
So one thing, 6
Yeah.
months reserves for the mortgage payment.
That's
Do they
one
need a
thing.
down payment amount?
They will need a down payment. There are programs that don't require down payment, which would be a VA loan. There's some USDA program that you might be able to, if you bought out in like the country area. And they
Spring
have,
Hill, Gardner.
yeah, so you'll have specific areas that would qualify for that. But otherwise, you could do for some home buyers for like 3.5%. I see some conventionals that are 3% down payment. So you're gonna need a down payment. It just depends how much.
How much?
Yeah,
And younger buyers may, in particular, may have an issue with credit rating. They haven't
Mhm.
had a long established credit
Mhm.
history, or they partied too hard in college
Yes.
and they maxed out those credit cards. And what
Yeah.
would they should they be looking at?
definitely. If you do not have any credit history, start working on establishing a credit history. So open up a credit card. And
Try to get a car loan or something.
Yeah.
Used car.
yeah, get some sort of credit history.
Get in debt.
Do not maximize your debt, but definitely start learning how to responsibly
Yeah.
get debt, pay that off.
Yeah, because like in
And
my
set
friend
yourself up.
circle, that's why I kind of tell them, like, I had a friend that never had a credit card. Their
Mhm.
family did not believe in credit cards. I was like, dude, just get one $500 limit or $2,000,
Right.
and then just fill up gas on there once a month and just pay it off. Because your credit
Exactly.
card utilization is low and it helps boost that score up. So it's just
Yeah.
like, that stuff's not taught in school, right? So when you get out of school, you're like, oh man, I don't even know how to build my credit at that point.
Yeah.
So
How do I get started?
yep.
Yeah.
So
So
Yeah.
if you want to buy your first home, you're thinking, what is a good time? Make sure your credit is up to par, that you've established some credit history,
So,
that you have, if you need to, the money to
mhm.
put down and the 6-month reserve.
So, well, and either 2 years of job you will need 2 years of job
Job
history. So,
Well, if you don't have a job, it's hard to have 6-month reserves, down
Yeah.
payment, and a good credit.
yeah, that is true. So
Some people inherit.
first up,
Well, but then they can buy their house, pay cash.
yeah. So have a job for 2 years. If you're W-2 or self-employed, 2 years is what you need. So
Regardless.
regardless,
Okay.
2 years to show that you have some sort of income.
Something stable. pretty
Yeah,
much. Okay.
and that should continue.
All right.
Yeah,
So,
those are just some good starting
sorry.
things to have.
Okay.
So I already own a house and I've been looking at the Kansas City market. Me and my wife
Mhm.
decided that we want to upgrade. So I've been hearing a lot of mixed feelings from everybody. What's your opinion on it? Is it a good time to upgrade or is it a good time? Because it's a good time to sell for sure. But
It's, if you want to, if that is something that you want to do for your family, then yes.
okay. You don't think the whole, like, I know that it's been a hard time having houses on the market, right? Because
Mhm.
they're selling quick because there's people moving to Kansas City as
Mhm.
well. On top of it, like, there's just not enough homes for sale, but then at the same time, I feel like, the prices that they're going for is,
Mhm.
30% above what it was compared to pre-COVID.
Yes.
So,
So that is something that we're facing right now. We have lower inventory than normal, and highest purchase price.
Yeah.
But then also interest rates are super low.
Low.
So they're in the 3% right now. And so
So that helps the
usually
buyer.
it helps with the buyer. So if you're getting financing, now if you're paying cash, there is inflation on the purchase
purchase
price.
price.
Yeah.
So typically, they say that if you're in, whatever the interest rate is, if it goes down 1%, then purchase prices will increase by 10%. And then if it goes up, it will decrease by 10%. So
So it's kind of
pick which way
fluctuates.
you want to go.
Gotcha.
So do you want the lower purchase price or the lower interest payment? So that's,
If you like,
Something
admit
to-
that they have a house and they're thinking about upgrading, great selling market, are there things that you should do to your current home if you want to sell it? I know some people, they want to, repaint this or do that,
Mhm.
but at the same time, they don't want to, spend too much money on
Yeah.
something that they're not going to be enjoying. But is it worth doing some work?
It's worth doing some work. And there's actually websites and believe it's, I can't remember the website. I'm gonna let you know. You guys can put that in the comments, or maybe I'll
Yeah.
comment.
No problem.
There is a website you can actually look up where there's been done extensive research of marketplaces and what the return is on a certain remodel thing that they
Okay.
do. So say if you remodel your kitchen, what's the potential of getting that money back when you turn around and sell it? For a Kansas City market, and that's our whole metro area.
Is getting the golf course in the backyard, right?
No, it's not. It's
Okay.
literally Kansas City. It's just having a functioning home, a well-maintained functioning home.
Maintenance free.
So, yeah, so as long as everything is operating, functioning, livable, and like fresh paint on the wall
Helps.
helps. So it's a $10, $10 in the can, $1,000 on the walls. So it helps. It helps with selling your property quicker. It increases the marketability. Maybe you won't get much more for it, but it definitely helps with getting it
So-
sold fast.
I do this every podcast, so I'm about to get yelled at again. I'm
Mhm.
gonna bring my wife in here. So I want to
You get yelled at when you get
I want to
home.
redo the backsplash in the kitchen, right? And
Mhm.
she's like, why do any work? The home price is already going up. So she
Mhm.
keeps looking at the county appraisals and
You
Zillow and Zillow. I bought my house for 210.
Mhm.
Right now it says I can sell my house for like 325. I'm like, in 4 years, it appreciated that much. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And no work done to the house. The house has been the same since the day I bought it. And I'm like, I think we should do these upgrades. And she
Mhm.
keeps looking at Zillow. And I told her, look, I deal with, this market every day,
Yeah.
and Zillow is, which, I mean,
Well, their
good.
algorithm So basically, they base those purchase prices off of an algorithm that they use. So it could fluctuate. They typically just pull all of the home sales in that neighborhood and they'll give you an approximate number. So best thing to do is actually have a realtor come by your house to walk through and
And that's why I keep
have
trying
like
to,
a
yeah,
second set of eyes.
because that's
on
why I
the
keep trying to
house.
have her understand. It's
Yeah.
like, it's once you go inside the house, what is the real value of the house at
Mhm.
that point? And it's just like, people look like normal buyers out there, they're looking at Zillow, or, sellers are looking at Zillow. And then I had an instance where one of my buddies told me that, he's a realtor as well. And he said, hey, I can list your house for this price. And the homeowner got mad. No, Zillow has it, for $50,000
Exactly.
more. And he ended up losing that listing.
Yeah, a lot of people look at Zillow as the
Real
like
estate Bible.
expert. Yeah, yeah, and sure, you can base your purchase price off of Zillow, but you really should probably have a realtor come take a look inside the house.
Yep.
And just see how it compares to your neighbors' homes, because
Zillow is doing an eagle's eye look
Mhm.
at the neighborhood, and so your
Eagle's
house
eye.
is there, and they
Mhm,
go, okay, this is what the estimated price.
right,
But that doesn't mean you're going to actually get a buyer to pay you that amount.
exactly. So the goal is to get a buyer to pay that amount, and typically the way to get a buyer to pay that amount is to get all of the potential buyers that would potentially want your house to actually see your
See.
house. And sometimes whatever the price that Zillow has might not be the price that will get all those buyers inside your house. So sometimes you have to price it at a, like a very good fair market value to get all the buyers. And that's where you'll hear all the people, offering way over asking price, because
Yeah.
they'll see like, oh, okay, like this house is worth it because of this new backsplash and just, whatever it is
Whatever it is,
that
yeah.
they want.
Because that's why I kind of wondered, like in this market too in Kansas City, especially like if you see a house listed for more than 60 days, it's
Mhm.
usually overpriced. And that's the reason why, because too, I think
Yeah.
15 days, 20 days is probably the max that a house right now stays on the market if it's priced
It's-
perfectly, because
I believe for the month of September, which is the last statistics that we have. So we'll get October in a couple of days. It was 22 days
22 days.
on average. Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
So, which is the least I've seen yet.
it's nuts.
Well, now let me see. I've bought my first house, and like Amit, I upgraded,
Mhm.
but I still have money on my pocket, and I want to invest, and I want that investment property. Can you talk a little bit now, bringing back downtown versus suburbs, and rental versus, long-term rental versus Airbnb or something of that sort? What would you recommend, or what would people need to know if they're thinking about making that investment?
I want to start off with, I am not an expert. I do not know
What?
much about investments. I know, hard to believe you think I'm an
No, but I
expert
mean,
on everything.
We're not going to go into the meat and
Yeah.
greed of everything,
Yeah.
but just
Where's people? Where
As a real
Yeah.
estate
at
agent,
at the moment?
what have you heard? What do you see?
Mhm.
And again, what would be if you were to make that
So
investment?
one of the easier investments to do is to keep your current property as a rental property and
Wow.
buy your next upgrade home. So that would be one of the easier ways to get into investing if that's something you want to do. But if you love your current home, you want it, and you just want to invest in a rental property, then you can definitely, I recommend looking at what does the HOA allow. So some HOAs don't even allow long-term rental properties.
Good point.
So whatever you're looking at, look at the HOA rental agreements. So some require 6 months, some require 1 month.
And
And
some
then
don't allow
others,
Airbnbs too, especially downtown.
exactly.
Okay.
So some don't, and then others don't care. So if you're like, hey, I want to keep this as a rental property, and perhaps if I don't have a 12-month lease or something like that, I want to Airbnb it, to not miss out on income, then those are some things that you should probably look at. Like, would this work? Can I do all of this?
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. Looks like you know what you're talking about. Of course you do.
Yeah.
Of course you wouldn't be here if you didn't.
Yeah.
And then kind of moving away from the real estate market, I just wanted to kind of bring, I like to bring this up every Friday. Who are the Chiefs playing this weekend?
The Chiefs?
Yeah.
Do you know?
No,
Do
I
you
don't
follow, by the
know.
way, any
I
sports?
don't at all. I am not a
You,
sports
you're in
fanatic.
Kansas City. You need to know
I
about the
know.
Chiefs. I'm sorry. You know.
You just know about Mahomes, that's it. And that's
I, sure, okay.
right.
Yeah, I know he plays for the Chiefs.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Do you follow the Royals, the
I
Sporting
don't.
KC?
I
You're
don't
not into sports.
at all.
What do you do for
I-
fun? I mean,
So I would go play like a pickup game of some sports.
soccer or
Sure.
football or
No, I don't really know anything about football, but soccer, sure, volleyball.
Okay.
So it would,
you?
But I
you're
wouldn't
into
really
doing
watch it.
not watching.
yeah, yeah. Or like if my friends are playing, sure, maybe I'll hang out.
And
Yeah,
try-
or
try
like,
playing.
you know,
Well, I will tell you, the Chiefs are undefeated.
are they? Because somebody mentioned that they're
Oh,
not
so
doing
you
so
see,
great.
you
I'll
know
try to look
something.
for that-
I
I'll try to look for
don't,
that
like-
laughing button on my keyboard, you know, or,
Well, they're not, but they're playing the Green Bay Packers.
oh yeah, that's right.
Oh,
Aaron
they
Rod-
are?
Mr. Rogers is not gonna be playing. so-
Well,
Did they win this Monday game?
they did,
It's
Okay.
barely-
although
barely.
it felt like they didn't. I
They're
watched the entire game. It felt like they didn't win, but they did win.
all right.
They're playing I mean, I don't want to talk bad about the Giants, but it was like them playing an elementary school team. And, you know, they barely got by with it.
Mhm. What's going on this year?
I don't know.
Why-
Well, we should ask Mark.
I am telling
Yeah,
you,
what's
they're,
going
they're
on?
turning it around. That's all I'm gonna say. They're
Okay.
turning it around. I'm still keeping my faith.
Yeah, okay, so kind of like real estate, we look at what happened in the past to
Yes.
figure out what's happening in the future. So in the past, Chiefs really came through for us. So let's hope that
Exactly. You see, you,
they'll end the season
Oh,
well.
man, this-
you
this
have
start- this starting to become
made
two
my
against one
day.
again.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's the analogy that I wanted to make. You know, you
yes,
look in the past, it's been great. That means
Mhm.
the future is bright. Right?
exactly.
So you not being from Kansas City, what would you tell folks is the greatest thing about Kansas City?
Kansas City. So I grew up in California. I would say, is that where you grew
Yeah,
up in
yeah, yeah,
California?
we talked about.
Barely,
Yeah.
barely. He
Yeah.
was there today.
A day.
I did.
Yeah, so I would say the green grass.
Okay.
Um,
There's some
No,
of it.
I would say, you know, if people ask me, like, I was talking to a guy yesterday, actually, he's from California as well,
Mhm.
and he didn't know where Kansas City was located. Yeah.
okay, you know what? That's how I thought before I moved out here. I was like, what's Missouri? What's Kansas City? Never heard of it. It was such a foreign place. Like, what do people even do there? How do they live? And so when we came out here, I was like, oh, just like California and
Just less traffic.
less traffic.
Yep.
That's it.
Well, I tell you what, I'm an attorney. I don't know if you know that,
Mhm,
but I used to work for this law firm and we did national work.
mhm.
And one of the marketing pitches we would have for clients everywhere is that about Kansas City is that we're 3 hours away from anywhere.
Yes, that is okay. That is one thing about Kansas City.
Yeah.
I've traveled so much in the last 10 years, just around United States, because you just get on a plane
And you go,
and you go.
and then we're getting that new airport, so it's gonna make it even much
Yes.
better now. So.
Exactly,
Yes, the new
exactly.
airport is coming in 2025,
I think it's
2024,
2023.
2023.
I think you'll
A
get it
year
started
earlier.
earlier.
No, it's not. It's
Yeah.
pretty, if you've been there, you've seen, they've made, significant progress. So
Last time
think
I was
Okay,
they're
there,
gonna
the
stay on
building's
schedule.
up.
I was gonna say, you know, when these guys are saying they can't find employees, but somehow the
Mhm.
airport and the contractors out there are finding the employees to get that done. It's pretty
Good.
crazy, yeah.
Let's
So,
let's keep that work going.
I'm very excited for that because
Mhm.
I love to fly and it's just been, I mean, I like the old
Yeah.
airport just because you could get there 10 minutes before your flight and still make your flight. But now it's
Yeah.
gonna be a little different, but you know, we're gonna get more flights, more destinations.
More
so-
flights. I'm excited for
Yeah.
that.
So-
One way, that would be nice.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the other thing about Kansas City. I noticed pretty innovative. Lots of people here are optimistic, want to do things, want to change things. It's a good culture. I enjoy this.
Awesome. Hey, we're about to run out of time.
Oh, yes. All right. So we'll go ahead and start with our closing. I think next week we have Antoinette with.
Antoinette
estate
Dupree.
planning. Yeah.
She's going to be talking. She's an attorney. She works for MAB Law KC, and she'll be talking about estate planning.
So wills and trusts in simple language. I need to get mine done. I've been pushing it off. So,
Well, you'll be able to talk to Antoinette, and she'll straighten you up.
yep, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, Alina, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Always.
Thank you
Yeah.
for joining us. And if you're okay, we'll bring you back some other time too,
Yeah.
because I know there's so much more to talk about real estate.
There's
And it's
so
changing.
much in real estate.
Changing every month or every day. I should say.
Every day,
Yeah.
every
so,
month.
All right.
Yeah. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And folks, thank you. Till next week.